Hello, third graders, it's Mrs. Bellatash, and we're going to do a quick little review before we go on. So, everything around us is made out of matter. Matter takes up space. I take up space, I'm made out of matter. This sea star takes up space, it's made out of matter. The air that I breathe takes up space, it's made out of matter. There are three types of matter on Earth. Solid, so my sea star is a solid. Liquid, I have some vinegar and it pours and takes the shape of the container, so it's a liquid. And the gas that's inside my lungs is gas. Three types of matter. Now, we can measure matter using a balance scale. When we measure matter using a balance scale, we are measuring its mass. And we use gram pieces or grams to measure mass. How much matter is in that thing? Last week, we mixed some different types of things together. We mixed some salt and water, we mixed some gravel and water, and we made a mixture. Two different types of matter mixed together. But it could be two solids together, right? Or it could be a solid and a liquid. But if one dissolves inside the other, it's a solution. Now, just because it dissolves doesn't mean it goes away. We learned that there's something called conservation of mass. Nothing is ever created or destroyed. It is just recycled. So when we let the water evaporate from the salt water, we got the salt back. The salt didn't disappear. So now what we're going to do today is we're going to have some fun with some chemical reactions. So we're going to start out with just a little fun today because we're going to do this experiment a couple of times, but I want us just to do it, have a little fun, and then go back and really investigate what's happening. We're going to do the classic baking soda and vinegar experiment. So you need some baking soda and some vinegar. And then you need another cup. Now, I'm doing mine on a tray, so in case it spills over, I don't make a big mess. I have 1 scoop of baking soda, and I'm going to put it into the cup. And I'm going to just pour, I'm not going to measure it, I'm just going to pour some vinegar into the baking soda. Oh, how fun, right? It's super fun to watch the baking soda and vinegar react and see it bubble up. Wow! And the reason it gets bigger is because gas expands. And we're making some carbon dioxide gas when we have this reaction. And when the gas is formed, it fills up the cup. It makes bubbles. The bubbles pop. Ooh, it's so much fun. It's so wonderful, the baking soda and vinegar experiment. I'm going to be following this experiment, baking soda and vinegar, which you have in your notebook masters, and you're welcome to follow along, okay? All right, first one, put on safety goggles. I wear glasses, so I'm not going to wear safety goggles. Measure 50 milliliters of vinegar into 1 cup. So I have 35 milliliters. I'm going to put it over here. That means I need 15 more milliliters. I'm going to put it back on, I put it on this side. Okay. Measure 5 milliliters of baking soda. There's my baking soda into another cup. Okay. Now, place the cup of vinegar inside the cup of baking soda. You notice it does not say to mix them. Just place, I'm going to nest this one on top of the baking soda, okay? Now, using a balance scale and mass set, weigh the nested cups of baking soda and vinegar, record the mass. All right, so now I'm going to use my gram pieces. Remember, when I measure mass, I'm measuring how much matter is in something. And I use gram pieces. Here's a 20-gram piece. 20, 30, 40, 50, 65, 66 grams. So the 2 cups, the liquid, and the baking soda have a mass of 66 grams. Now I'm going to very slowly pour the vinegar into the baking soda. I'm going to do it slowly because I don't want it to spill over. If it spills over, then I lose some of the liquid. So I'm going to pour it very slowly. I see some reaction, but I don't want it to get too big because I want to keep everything in the cup. Okay, now when I measured the mixture, I measured the 2 cups. So I need to include the 2nd cup. I'm going to give it a little stir and make sure all the reaction has occurred. Oh, see, I'm getting more bubbles, so I'm going to get all those bubbles. Okay, now I'm going to take my cup and I'm going to put it back on the balance. Well, this is very interesting. It appears that a little bit of weight was lost, a little bit of mass. I'm going to take out my 1 gram piece and see what happens with that. There, that seems about right. So somehow I lost 1 gram of mass. Where could that 1 gram of mass have gone? Remember, I said there's something called the conservation of mass. Matter is not created or destroyed, so that matter did not disappear. It went somewhere. Where did the 1 gram of mass go? It went into the bubbles. Air has weight. Air has mass. The bubbles that we lost took up 1 gram of the mass. So I want to prove to you guys that some of the bubbles went up into the atmosphere. And the way we're going to do that is with a new experiment. And I sent home a balloon with each of you guys so you can do this a little bit later. So I'm going to put 50 milliliters of vinegar in a bottle. So you need a bottle. And I put 5 milliliters of baking soda in my balloon. I used a funnel. Maybe your parents have a funnel. I don't know. And now I'm going to put this balloon on top of the bottle. It's usually easier if you have someone help you because it's hard to get the top on. I did it. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the balloon on the top and I'm going to lift up the balloon. Oh, look at this. See what's happening? My balloon is getting blown up by the bubbles that are being created inside. I didn't blow up the balloon. The chemical reaction, which is creating the carbon dioxide gas, the bubbles, is blowing up the balloon. And this much air, this much gas that was created and left and escaped into the atmosphere weighed 1 gram. Cool. Boys and girls, please get out your science journal. And I want you to go to the next page and put the date at the top. And this is the question I would like you to write in your science journal. What happens when we mix 2 materials? So I have a couple of different answers. My first answer was sometimes they form a mixture, like sand and gravel, right? We had the sand, we had the gravel, it formed a mixture, but we could easily separate it using a screen or another way to separate the small sand from the bigger gravel. Then sometimes they form a solution. Like what? What solution did we have? Salt water. When salt dissolved in the water, that made a solution. And then today, we saw something different. Sometimes they make bubbles, like baking soda and vinegar. And boys and girls, that is a chemical reaction. I want you to write a question on the next page. What happened to the mass of the baking soda and vinegar mixture? So what happened to it? Did it get heavier? Did it get lighter? Or did it stay the same? It got lighter, right? So I wrote the mixture lost 1 gram of mass because the bubbles escaped. And we know the bubbles escaped because in our next experiment where I showed you with the balloon on the bottle, we saw the bubbles, the gas, escaping into the balloon and blowing up the balloon. I had a lot of fun doing baking soda and vinegar experiments with you guys. Hey, on Halloween, come join me making some slime, another chemical reaction. Have a good week, guys. Bye.